falling in love with yourself allows you to be your true, authentic self. We get to let go of our trauma, of our pain, and we get to focus on what do we love? Who are we? What do we get to do moving forward? We're not being judged anymore because we're not judging ourselves. Yes, we can be good girls that do bad things. We can wear clothes that are deemed, oh, who does she think she is? Because now we're listening to our own guidance from within. And when I get messages and downloads and things to wear, I know now there's a message deeper than I even know. I don't have to figure it all out. I don't have to understand when the message comes. I just am obedient and I put on the clothes and I be the fishing lure that needs to get the message across. Why are we so afraid of being good, but not letting sometimes our bad side show through? What is our bad side? Maybe it's deemed that we shouldn't do this, that, or the other when we're in a relationship because religion teaches you to not do that till you're married. Maybe we're deemed bad because we are having sex out of wedlock. Maybe we are deemed bad because we're not following all the guidelines of the religious ways. Some of us are saying that we're spiritual. And only thing that spiritual means is that you're finally allowing your own internal guidance, your own internal God to work through you. And that you broke away from all the religious ways that have all these rules and restrictions on you. Half of the world doesn't want to go to church because there's so many rules and regulations, and you must be this way, and you must be married, and you must have this, and you must do that. We're coming to terms with our own spirituality because we realize now that we are the I am. I am what I say I am. I have God inside of me. And you know what I've found since I let go of all the walls of religious ways of being and all the rules and all the structure and all the things that keep you captive? God is a funny God. God made all these erogenous spots all over our body to enjoy. Why do you think we have these curves and this way of being? Why do you think we like what we like? Because when we finally allow all the walls of religious ways to fall down and we learn to listen to our guidance from ourself, from within, the God inside of us, we are good girls. And sometimes we do bad things, but we're still loved and forgiven. And we're still free to make our own decisions. We all have a conscience inside of us. And what your conscience says that you can do and what you can't do depends on how indoctrinated you've been your whole life. When you stop listening to everybody and everything else that has controlled you, manipulated you, and made you feel like a bad girl or a bad boy because you had desires in your heart to do things differently, to step out of your comfort zone and see if there was another way. You had desires to wear something different, to act different, to be different for the greater good of yourself. When you let go of control, when you let go of manipulation, when you let go of what are they gonna say? Some of the religious people are the biggest, most judgmental people. They don't mean to. They've been indoctrinated. to being that way. I remember when I took my kids to church, I went to this Pentecostal church and they said, oh no, Pokemon, you cannot let your kids watch Pokemon, you cannot watch Pikachu, that's all of the devil. I can remember going home and throwing away my son's Pikachu and Pokemon because the church told me to. He was devastated. He cried for hours. How do you explain to a child that you bought him these toys and now he's not allowed to play with them because they're of the devil? And then I went and got all the Bible, all the Bible videos and all that, and did my best to indoctrinate him into being who I thought he should be. I went home and I said, husband, you can't drink anymore. You're not allowed to drink. We can't do this in the bedroom anymore. That's not allowed. And all these things started to rock the boat of what I had. And it became something bad instead of something great. What if we had a guidance inside of us that said, this is what you need to do. This is where you go. Happy, joy, peaceful, loving, not manipulating, not controlling, but follow your own guidance. Because God made us perfectly imperfect to crave the desires of our heart and to be free to make our own decisions and trust how we feel. If it feels good, do it. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. If it feels good to wear something like this, do it. Without the fear of being judged and manipulated and controlled. What if we lived in a world where there was acceptance for who we are? What if there was a world that we could just be love and just ooze with love, even if we were not tied to any religious group at all? What if we got awakened within ourselves to where we could be free enough to make our own choices for our own partners? What if we were free enough to be good girls and make our own decisions, or good boys, good guys? You see, that's how it was all created. But then the religious groups got involved and everything got out of context. And then we started watching and feeling programmed to do it the way we've been indoctrinated to do it through the religious programs. I'm not saying religion's bad. You do whatever you want. You're free. This is just an open discussion. I'm not bashing anyone, just so you know that. I'm just having an open discussion on how I feel now. And what if we could live in a world that we could be just love? We're not judged by what religion we are, what gender we are, who we love, who we don't love, whether we're married, whether we're not married, whether we're single, whether we're not single, whether we're living out of wedlock or not. What if we could learn that to trust our inner guidance and that our value comes from within? And that's what gets us abundant, and that's what creates our abundance. So sometimes God has to get the message through outfits, through other ways of being instead of what we've been indoctrinated to believe. I believe that we don't have to be afraid of God. We don't have to be afraid of all the rules and regulations. I believe that God accepts us and loves us for who we are. And the more that we accept ourselves, we create more joy in ourselves and in the world to be free to be exactly who we want to be. I love you. That's your message.